Good morning, everyone. It's Bella. I'm back again. It's Friday, April the 3rd, 2020. It's been memorable times for sure. As we all know, the world is all trying together to pull our way out of this virus. And I think we all have to do our best to listen to the advice of all of our health experts and all our leaders, and to stay home as much as possible, or stay in our yards, or certainly if we need to have a walk close to our homes, to do that safely and within the parameters that they're setting up, or at least 6 feet apart, 2 meters apart from one another. But you already know all this stuff. So let's get on to something a lot more fun to talk about. Let me see. Oh, I have an idea. I think I have. I'll be right back. I picked this up a while ago. It's called My School Memories. Boy, will this be something for you folks to write or think about for this last year, whatever grade that you're in, that you had an extended holiday, and that this Easter is going to be the most interesting Easter of your lives. This is a defining moment in everybody's life, for sure. I mean, a defining moment in my life when I was probably around 9 years old was when President Kennedy was assassinated. And for a few days, the world sort of stood still for that. And a bunch of worry and sadness as well in the world that time. And we got through it, but everybody seems to remember where they were that day. And I'm thinking, a year, 2 years, 10 years, 20, 30 years from now, we're going to all be talking about the coronavirus and how it affected each and every one of us in some sort of way. So, having said that, let's try to make one of these. Remember, I had you make a journal. And I hope some of you made a journal, or at least have a journal of some sort that you're writing in, just to help you remember, what you were feeling every day and what you were observing every day. That would be kind of cool. This one I picked up. Let me see. It can go to anybody. I won't show you the whole book, but the first day of kindergarten, for instance, and it has the different things to write down. Some of you might already have something like this. I'm sure your parents might have gotten something like this for you. But, there are things like, this year I want to remember, I feel proud of myself because, things I often say, something that makes me laugh, sad, mad, happy, all about the feelings stuff. We talked about feelings, so this is kind of neat to do that. Now, some of you are going to be finishing grade 8, graduating in grade 8. And it's going to be a very different sort of a time for you. Your graduation will happen, and your parties will happen. It just won't be right away, and it won't be, chances are, it won't be in June. We'll have to see. Anyway, here's something to think about. Last day of grade 8. And you'll write the date, whatever that is, what the weather is, what your feeling is, what you're most proud of this year. Write your name, something I want to do this summer, what I liked learning, what I need to work on, and my best school trip this year. Well, some of that didn't happen, obviously. Age, height, and shoe size. Okay? Last day of grade 8. Oh my gosh, I remember my last day of grade 8. In those days, I was in a smaller town in London. I was in Chatham. And I remember we got dressed up in our best kind of clothing, and we had half a day of school, I think, and then we had a dance through the afternoon, and then we were given our report cards, and that was about it. But it was special for us. It was not, over the top, but it was a different kind of a day at school, and we had a dance, and that was kind of nice, and said goodbye to our teachers, and we already knew what high schools that we would be going to in the fall. And we just spent, the afternoon of our last day of school just chilling and hanging out and having a lot of fun. So again, think about your last day of school this year and try to think of it in a happy way if you can. I mean, you can think about it in a sad way too. It's certainly okay to cry, and it's certainly okay to understand your expectations might not be met this year, but it will be a whole different thing. And won't that be interesting, Lots of graduations that you'll have had. Some of you have had kindergarten graduations, and some of you have had grade 8 graduations. Some even had grade 6 graduations if you're going on into middle school, depending on your school structure and system that you use. And some of you in grade 12. Kind of really feel my heart for you folks, because grade 12 is a special time to graduate and thinking about adulthood more and thinking about leaving home and that sort of a thing. So we'll come back to that one in a bit. Okie doke. So here is another kind of a page, dreams and aspirations, 5 things. Again, I can't read backwards very well. Let's me just put it this way. 5 things I want for the next school year. My high school years will be fun, scary, hilarious, easy, fabulous, stressful, difficult, unforgettable. In high school, I want to make people laugh, speak out more, trust myself more, be more active, read more books, reach my potential, learn new things, be a better listener, learn from my mistakes, help my friends, practice self-care, and start playing a new sport. So these are things that may or may not be your interests or goals, but check off as many that make sense to you and add some that might not be there. When I'm older, I want to help others, discover things, be inventive, express myself, analyze stuff, protect, defend, move, explore, create, do better, make people laugh, care for, excel, understand, solve problems, fix things, motivate others, be innovative, and love, and always believe in my dreams. And when I grow up, I want to be. So there's the example of that kind of a page to put together. And I think this would be the most fun thing to put together. You get 2 pieces of paper, cardboard of some kind, and connect them, glue them along the sides and the bottom, and this side if you want, and make a pocket in the middle of it. And start collecting little mementos and things that you might want to put in there. Maybe your grade 8 graduation picture. You might have already had that taken, I'm not certain. Or any of them anyway. Or little, I'm just looking around my stubs of tickets of things that you've seen. For instance, this is something that I saw recently. Before all of this, it was a Broadway show, Broadway 2000 concert. So I would take something like that and put that in there, and then forever I'll have it. Okay, I'll be back in a moment with something else. Hi, I'm back. Remember we talked about friendship and connectedness and all of that sort of a thing? Well, I have a challenge for you today. And it's going to be a little different. I know these days we can easily reach out to each other just like I'm doing, either FaceTiming or Skyping or sending a GIF or a text, that kind of a thing. I think this time let's do something a little more personal. How be we get a piece of paper and a pen or pencil, and we actually write a letter, a real honest to goodness old school letter. And in this letter, just need to write one. And if you want to practice one and just give it to somebody in your house, that would be just fine. But I think what would be really, really kind of nice is to write one to a friend that perhaps you haven't seen for a while, you haven't really talked to for a while, that you've been thinking about, and actually put it in the mail. Wouldn't it be nice to receive something in the mail these days, something from the outside? So that's my challenge to you, is to actually write a letter and get an envelope and mail the letter. I don't know if any of you have stamps in the house anymore. I'm sure you do. Even if you don't, maybe if it's a friend down the street or whatever, you can always deliver it, okay? But give it a thought. Even you young ones, maybe your mom and dad can help you write the letter, or again, you can make pictures and send it to somebody, or send it to grandma and grandpa, or a cousin or relative, and just to say, hi, thinking about you, and this is what we've been doing, what have you been doing, and all of that kind of good stuff. So I'm looking forward someday to be able to do an interactive piece here. Maybe we will. In a few days, a few weeks, maybe we'll go on an app I've been hearing about called Zoom, and we can coordinate it and all click in together like a conference call or a meeting, for those of you who can do that or want to do that, and we'll have an interactive session. I'd look forward to doing something like that. Okay, so I'll be back in a moment with a story for you, or some other activity for you. I think I'm going to make this particular session a little longer today because, as you probably noticed, I did not tape one yesterday. I just didn't get up and around to this, so to make up for it, I'll do this a little bit longer. Okay? See you in a moment. I looked through my my book of my well, some more books and crafts and stuff, and I was looking through this, and I thought two things that we can do here, very similar. It'll be a paper mache project to do for the weekend, something that's fun. And again, don't get all worried if you don't have all the materials in the house or you can't get it in the house. This is when you think out of the box and you substitute for whatever it is that you need, okay? So don't get too upset with it. So I'll give you a couple variations of what to do. One is to make a paper mache bowl, okay? And paper mache is just gluing together strips of paper with a mixture of flour and water for the glue. And you use 1 cup of flour to 1 cup of water. You'll have to ask permission first. And if you need help from an adult to help mix that, that's fine. You'll need some newspaper or grocery bag strips, not plastic, regular paper bag strips that will be 1 inch by 3 inches. So cut a bunch of them 1 by 3 inches. And then you'll need something called petroleum jelly or Vaseline. Okay? And then a bowl of any size. Maybe start with a smaller or medium sized one to begin with as a practice, and then you'll make more if you want to. And then tempera paint or any kind of paint, and then an acrylic gloss finish. Again, those aren't absolutely necessary. If you have it, that's great. If you don't, you can, we'll think about something different to put with it. Okay, so this is basically the instructions. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut out your strips of paper, get everything ready that you need, and make a little dish with your flour and water combination. That kind of makes the glue. And then what you're going to do is cover the outside, bottom, and rim with the bowl with the jelly, the petroleum jelly, so that it will let go easily. Well, maybe Pam's spray might help too. Not too much of it. Well, the jelly's going to be slippery, so either one. It makes it easier when it dries to separate it. Okay, so you're covering the outside of the bowl with the strips of newspaper dipped in the glue mixture, and then you're going to apply the strips vertically, covering the bowl's surface. Vertically means up and down. Horizontally means like the horizon, that way. So we're going to do vertically or all sorts of ways at the moment that they're doing that. Okay. Oh, the strips of paper, they have to be dipped in the glue. So you're dipping the strips of paper into the glue structure, and then you're attaching it to your bowl. Okay. And then another layer of paper. Oh, okay. One vertically, the other horizontally. And then a third layer vertically again. This is just going to strengthen your bowl. And you keep repeating it until it's 5 layers thick. Okay? Kind of like lasagna. Then you'll let it dry. I don't know how long it'll take to dry. I think I'll try to make one myself this weekend. And then you separate the paper mache bowl from the bowl used as the mold. Okay, and you might have to use a tip of a knife just to pry the edges apart to get it loosened to begin with, but or ask for help from an adult to help you, but that shouldn't be too difficult to get that. Then you're going to paint your bowl with tempera. And when the paint dries, give it 2 coats of an acrylic sealer. Okay, tempera. I think you can probably use watercolor paints. I'm thinking you could even use markers. Yeah, any of those things would work. If you're going to use an ink marker, don't do what I did the other day when I did a blue heart. I went to put it on the door, and my hands were blue for a while. The ink hadn't dried yet. Okay. And then your bowl, it's going to put it in your room or give it to someone. It's good for holding items like potpourri or potato chips or anything else you want. It can be gently wiped clean, but don't try to wash it in water. It'll fall apart. Okay, so yeah, 2 coats of an acrylic sealer of some kind. They usually come in spray. And again, you may have that around the house. If you don't, I'm going to give some thought into what else, and maybe you can figure out what else would be good to seal it. I think the acrylic spray is the best thing to do, or varnish. Okay, the other variation is to make a globe, planet Earth. Okay, you see that? I'm going to read some of this for you too now. So you'll need a balloon. And some of you probably have already done this. I haven't done one of these for a long time. I think I'm going to do the Earth. Again, paper strips, 1 inch by 3 inches. You make your glue mixture with the flour and the water. Again, your paints. This time you're going to use tissue paper, bright blue, green, and brown. Okay? And then a drinking glass or a mug. That's basically just to hold up, okay, your product. A paper clip and a fishing line. Okay? So there are many things you can do doing this balloon, but we're going to do it this time for the planet, okay? And it looks nice hanging from a piece of fishing line from a ceiling. And because your balloon probably won't create a perfectly shaped sphere, it's going to be even more scientifically accurate because our planet isn't perfectly shaped either. So first, of course, you blow up the balloon and you tie the end closed. You cover the balloon surface with 3 or 4 layers of the paper strips dipped in the glue mixture, just like we did with the bowl. Insert the clip for hanging and use the drinking glass or mug, okay, to support the balloon while you work so it won't roll around on the table, and allow it to dry. Okay, I see what they're doing. The paper clip would be kind of like that on your last layer, and that it holds there. You kind of making little wings there so that you can tie your line to it. Okay, so allow it to dry. Now paint in the continents and the oceans with the appropriate colors, or use small torn pieces of colored tissue paper. Dip the tissue papers in the glue mixture and then layer them in the appropriate places. Use the brown and green colors for the continents and the blue for the oceans. You can wad small balls and glue in place for the mountain ranges or islands. That would be kind of neat. Then cover a layer of more tissue pieces. And then when it's dry, coat that again with acrylic spray and hang with the fishing lines. Okie dokie. Cool. All right. Good. Set it in a glass and hang it up. And of course, once it's dried, not dried, but once you've got it, I think it has to be dried, you deflate the balloon inside. Okay, so there's a couple of things that will be kind of fun to do this weekend, and I think I'm going to try to make that globe this weekend. And I like the idea of using, cotton balls and stuff like that to give that globe. See my globe up there? That's a talking globe. And maybe what we'll do is we'll take a look at that on Monday. And I'll get it going, and I'll ask it questions of the different continents and the different places on the earth. It gives answers for it. And then we'll have some fun with our talking globe. Do a little geography lesson. My favorite thing, I think, in school was geography, one of them anyway. And because of that, I love to travel and see all sorts of things. So looking forward to doing that and seeing all our creations on Monday. Okay, I'll be back in a moment with our story and our sign off. Okay, story time. This one's going to be really fun. Remember the politically correct bedtime stories. Again, more appropriate for older kids and certainly for adults, but nothing too racy in this for the kids. So let's start. The Emperor's New Clothes. Far away in a long time past, there lived a traveling tailor who found himself in an unfamiliar country. Now, tailors who move from place to place normally keep to themselves and are careful not to overstep the bounds of local decency. This tailor, though, was overly gregarious and decorum impaired, and soon he was at a local inn, abusing alcohol, invading the personal space of the female employees, and telling unenlightened stories about tinkers, dung gatherers, and other tradespeople. The innkeeper complained to the police, who grabbed the tailor and dragged him in front of the emperor. As you might expect, a lifetime of belief in the absolute legitimacy of the monarchy and in the inherent superiority of males had turned the emperor into a vain and wisdom-challenged tyrant. The tailor noticed these traits and decided to use them to his advantage. The emperor asked, "Do you have any last request before I banish you from my domain forever?" The tailor replied, "Only that your majesty allow me the honor of crafting a new royal wardrobe, for I have brought with me a special fabric that is so rare and fine that it can be seen only by certain people, the type of people you'd want to have in your realm. People who are politically correct, morally righteous, intellectually astute, culturally tolerant, and who don't smoke, drink, laugh at sexist jokes, watch too much television, listen to country music, or barbecue." After a moment's thought, the emperor agreed to this request. He was flattered by the fascist and testosterone-heavy idea that the emperor and its inhabitants existed only to make him look good, the empire and its inhabitants, only to make him good. It would be like having a trophy wife and multiplying that feeling by 100,000. Of course, no such rarefied fabric existed. Years of living outside the bounds of normal society had forced the tailor to develop his own moral code that obliged him to swindle and embarrass the emperor in the name of independent craftspeople everywhere. So, as he diligently labored, he was able to convince the emperor that he was cutting and sewing pieces of the fabric that, in the strictest objective sense of reality, didn't exist. When the tailor announced that he was finished, the emperor looked at his new robes in the mirror. As he stood there, naked as the day he was born, one could see how years of exploiting the peasantry had turned his body into an ugly mass of puffy white flesh. The emperor, of course, saw this too, but pretended that he could see the beautiful politically correct robes. To show off his new splendor, he ordered a parade to be held the next day. On the following morning, his subjects lined the streets for the big parade. Word had spread about the emperor's new clothes that only enlightened people with healthy lifestyles could see, and everyone was determined to be more right-minded than his or her neighbor. The parade began with great hoopla. As the emperor marched his pale, bloated, patriarchal carcass down the street, everyone loudly oohed and awed at his beautiful new clothes. All except one small boy who shouted, "The emperor is naked!" The parade stopped. The emperor paused. A hush fell over the crowd until one quick-thinking peasant shouted, "No, he isn't. The emperor is merely endorsing a clothing-optional lifestyle." A cheer went up from the crowd, and the throng stripped off their clothes and danced in the sun as nature had intended. The country was clothing optional from that day forward, and the tailor, deprived of any livelihood, packed up his needle and thread and was never heard from again. Oh my gosh. Anybody think what I'm thinking about who that emperor could be? Okie doke. Come back to say goodbye. Okay, well, this has been again a fast session and a fun Friday. I'd like to make Fridays to be a little bit more fun like this. Maybe introduce a craft to do on the weekend, a story, and some lighthearted sort of things to talk about and do, but still in the name of self-esteem. So again, enjoy the sunshine today. Oh, it's gorgeous. It's going to be a lovely weekend. Enjoy your home, enjoy your room, enjoy your family, enjoy your yard. Hey, gardening is going to begin soon. Cleanup's already happening in my neighborhood, so a lot to look forward to. I planted a few seeds in the house, and they're already sprouted and growing. I'll have to show them to you next time. Anyway, as usual, remember to slay the day. Bye-bye.